What to do when you feel like you're screaming into the void and your content is not landing. Today, we're going to cover in this episode just how shitty it feels to put so much effort in creating content online, especially if you're advertising your services on Instagram or YouTube or any of those social platforms, and it's your main source of client acquisition. If you really want to grow that business, but you feel so small compared to people who have tons of followers and a business that is running so smoothly, a larger audience, and they just have to talk about their offers and they know they're going to make money from it. And you're here with under 1,000 followers and you're like, fuck, I really want to grow my audience, and I'm creating all of this content and I'm putting so much effort into it and I'm creative and my content is good and nothing is working. We're going to talk about how. We're going to also talk not just about how to make content that convert, but this whole energy. Because let me tell you a background story. For the longest time, I thought that if only I had more eyeballs on my work, if only I grew my followers, if only a reel went viral and overnight I would have all of those amazing followers, then everything will run smoothly and my business will work so much more and I will make so much more money. And it's not that it's not true, but it clicked much later in my entrepreneurial journey. And I want to share with you my experience so that it clicks for you earlier. Because in my case, I remember knowing and being told a lot that I didn't need all the followers, that I didn't need to have the large audience, that I still could make really good money and have my dreams and work with the dream clients that I really wanted to work with without the large audience. I was told that. I knew this with my head, but I still was hoping for the viral reel. I also had examples. Like I could see people with 200 followers getting results, having a job that worked really, really well, having client all the time, making really great money with almost no followers, like such a small audience. So I could even see it with my eyes, but I was still feeling like for me, I had to have more eyeballs on my work. I also felt like the algorithm was against me. Like, oh my God, I am censored. I am blacklisted. I am shadow banned. This is why no one is seeing my stuff. And right. And it took a really long time between what I knew was real actually felt real. Like I don't need more followers for my business to work. And so my hope for this episode for you is that if ever you find yourself in that position where you feel like you're screaming into the void, like you're just like throwing yourself again and again and again, creating so much and you're fucking exhausted because it's exhausting, that you feel a little bit of comfort and that it clicks for you faster than it took me for it to click. The first thing I think is important to discuss is that for real, you don't need the large of an audience you think you need. This is also something we think with money. We feel like in order to feel successful, we need to be a billionaire, right? We need to be this extra earning. But most of the time, if you do the exercises in the money books, money mindset books, they tell you to put a number onto your dream life and you actually make those calculations. It's an amazing exercise. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. You calculate your dream life. You know everything that you want and you calculate to the penny how much it's going to cost you. And most of the time, you would be surprised how your dream life is not as expensive as you thought it would be. So we think we need a lot more than we actually need in order to be fulfilled or to have our dreams. It's the same in business. It's the same with that content creation. We think we're going to need a lot, like tons of followers until we feel legit, until we have a business that brings in the money, until we work with the perfect dream clients, until we feel like that bitch in business. And it's not true. We need a way less. Actually calculate the numbers. Just like you would do for your dream life, calculate how many clients you actually need, right? And if you are on this podcast, I'm guessing that you are in some kind of service providing industry. Maybe you sell some high ticket offers, some packages, some courses, low ticket offer, whatever. Make the actual calculation. How many people do you need? That's also why I'm a big fan of adopting a business model that makes sense for the size of our audience, because thinking that you're going to build an empire with a freebie is bullshit. Like thinking that you're going to build that empire that you want to build with a $10 ebook. I've been there. So many of my clients have too. I've been there. We don't really make the numbers. We don't really actually think that through. How many people will have to buy it so it's sustainable, and not just how many people will have to buy it one time, right? Like along the years, how many people are going to buy it so it's sustainable and profitable and we can live from it and we can grow from it. So make the numbers. Chances are when you adopt a business model that is made for the size of your audience and the size of you, your goals, your dreams, your lifestyle, you're going to need way less clients than you think you need. And so maybe you need 10 clients. Maybe you need 20 clients. It's not that much. I mean, you don't need like 1 million followers for you to grab attention to those 10 clients. But then I think where we have to learn is to really position ourselves and adopt a really strong marketing presence so that every single piece of content that we put out there has a purpose. The purpose of either building connection so people can trust you, telling a powerful story so they can identify with the story and see like, oh, this is me, and feel compelled to buy. So not for you to be entertaining or inspiring. Chances are you're already that. But how do you convert into I want to buy from you? This is where we should focus our attention, not so much on growing the numbers. That is just personal opinion and personal experience, because I've been focused for way too long on growing my numbers when it didn't necessarily made sense. I just needed to connect with the right people, aka my dream client. The way to do that was to first know them. Like I had to know what was the archetype, right? And then to speak to her. Because in my head, I was still speaking to the fucking randos from high school because they were in my following too. And so I was like, oh my God, I need those people to understand. And it's going to sound so silly, but sometimes I was also having my partner's dad in my head thinking he needs to understand. I don't know why him, but it's almost like I see a pocket of like all of my family and my partner's family. And I feel like they need to understand what I'm doing. And like, fuck no, they don't fucking get it. They will not get it because my industry is so niche and so special. You fucking get it on the podcast. That's why you're here, but they don't get it. And so I need to talk to you. I need to talk like we on a call. I need to talk like you're my girlie, like you're my client. That's what I do now. And obviously bringing more of my personality as well, like bringing more of me and who I am really as a coach, but also just talking to my people in the language that I understand and talking to her directly. Like I know her so much. She is my client. I know her pain. I know what she's looking for. I know what she tried before that didn't work. I know all of that. So I need to talk from that instead of trying to be educational of like, let me teach you 3 ways that you can be sensual today, or 3 ways to, I don't know. I'm even not having the inspiration anymore for examples. That's how tired I was of my own shit. Honestly, I look back at my content and it sucked. And I thought it didn't suck that much. And I need to be compassionate with myself and everything, but also it sucked. And when we are in a competitive world of Instagram, I'm going to talk about Instagram because it's my favorite platform and this is where I develop myself on. But you can apply it to whatever you're trying to develop yourself on. Instagram, I was putting so much hours creating the content, trying to see, I was not necessarily reproducing trends, but I was like, what is the most strategic thing to do? And I was being so educational, like trying to give tips and tricks. And this is not what makes people want to buy. First, 2 things are so important when people want to buy. The first thing is you. People are going to want to buy from you, your energy, your experience, like the way you present things, maybe their personal relationship with you. Maybe they know you, they feel connected to your story, to your energy, your vibe, your, I don't know, your hair, how you look. Like it's, it sucks to say that, but when you are in the world of personal branding, and I'm guessing that if you're here, you are a service provider. You are either a coach, a photographer, an artist, you own your own clothing brand. Like I'm trying to think about all of the type of my clients, like fitness coach, mindset coach, healers. All of this uses the power of personal branding. And personal branding doesn't mean having pretty graphics and everything. It means being you and bringing all of you to your business. So it means that one of the reason people buy from you is you. And it's hard because in the world of business, you want to kind of dissociate yourself from your business a little bit so you don't feel like a failure when things are not working your way and you don't feel so dependent on proving your worth through your business. But that's a topic for another episode. But if you have that power of a personal branding, as I said, it also doesn't mean the pretty graphics. Like I felt completely out of touch with everything beauty and aesthetic, and like I'm recording now in the mess of my fucking living room, right? Because I want to show up for you, because I want to feel connected to you, and because I don't have time to set up the whole thing. I have my baby coming home in just a moment, my man coming back in just a moment, but I'm still building my personal brand by being here with you as me. Even if I don't have the perfect branding, even though I love, and I spent so much time yesterday printing the props for Business Activator, the new photo shoot, because I'm relaunching the offer with an amazing photo shoot. I printed the props, and like just that aspect of branding, of like making a visual that represents me, my essence, the things that I love and the things I'm about and my uniqueness. I love it. And I think it's important. Like it's super important, especially if you don't have any, like if people cannot feel you and complexity. When I say complexity, is like all of the textures that you have. But again, that's also a whole topic for another episode, and let me know if you want me to do an episode around that, because I have a very specific process that I guide my client through when it comes to defining what is the branding of you in the personal brand realm. Like how do we translate exactly who you are in your personal life, in your business, but in a way that is powerful, professional, magnetic, all that jazz. Again, topic for another day, because otherwise I'm going to go on another tangent. Let's circle back. 2 reasons why people buy from you, right? 1, you. And the second is because you talk to them and they see you as someone that can fix their problems. The thing is, those 2 aspects, they work together. That's why sharing your story is so important. And I don't want you to fall into the trap either of talking about your story as a way to be relatable. Your story is supposed to make people see themselves in you, in your journey, and your story is a way to talk about the problems you had, the problems your dream clients are having, and seeing how you solved them and how now you have a strategy to solve them. And so how you are the solution, because you've been through that yourself, you know how to solve them. If you have a personal clothing brand, it could be how you never found anything that fit, made you feel comfortable and sexy at the same time. You always had to fucking compromise between looking hot but being so restricted in your clothes, so uncomfortable, always having to pull your skirt or readjust something, and wanting to be so freaking comfortable, like in your pajamas, but you didn't really feel super sexy and feminine in your pajamas. And so you created a personal branding, personal branding. You created a clothing brand that helps women feel both super comfortable and sexy. And you can lead with anecdotes and your stories and why you created that and how much pain you felt in those years where you didn't feel like yourself and you never knew how to show up in the world or at events or in a date. You wanted to feel like cute and comfortable at the same time, and you wanted to go dancing. I don't know. I don't own yet a clothing brand, but this is how I would do it. Same with the fitness journey, like how you lost the weight, for example, how you built the muscle. But usually there is a deeper story to it. Like what challenges did you face? Did you face like a lot of like restriction, like you had to starve yourself before and you thought that was the only way to get results, and maybe your ideal clients are going through the exact same thing. So really it's about knowing your archetypes. Your archetypes is like your dream client. Once you know them, it's talking to them. How do you talk to them? You basically have to be already in the posture of someone that offers a transformation. If you have a service-based business, you offer a transformation. You lead people from point A to point B with your expertise. And so basically that's kind of what you have to do in your content, making people feel transformed and see you, position you as the solution. So in order to do that, we can do that in many different ways. And as I said, you need different types of content to create this whole ecosystem. If you only create like personal, vulnerable shares, you're going to be inspiring, but people are not going to click to buy. If you only share educational you're going to be very interesting, but people are not necessarily going to buy from you either. Or they're going to feel like you're just giving a lot of tips, but they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about your story. If you're just bragging about the results that you offer and that you experience in your own life, I don't know, you made a lot of money, you have your dream body, you have amazing clothes. Like if you just lead with that, people are going to look up at you. You're going to probably gain followers, but are they going to convert into clients? I don't know. Think about yourself as a client. What made you invest in the things that you invest on? Probably you have a problem, or if you don't have a problem, they make you aware that you have a problem and they show you how they are a solution. Why did you invest in that mentor or this mentor, or even like goods? Like, why did you buy this product over this product? You invested in where you trusted the most. How do you build trust? By being your freaking self, by being transparent, and by showing up with consistency. And so when people are like so exhausted from pouring so much time in content that feels like it doesn't land and doesn't convert, what tends to happen is that they drop it. They just stop creating. They're so exhausted and they don't stay consistent because the consistency is not paying. But I always say to them, like, if you were putting the same amount of effort in your content and you were making shitloads of money from it, trust me, you wouldn't complain about it. You wouldn't feel exhausted. You would feel okay. Another important part is having a strategy and a system of repurposing content. I'm sure you heard that a billion times. I'm not an Instagram expert, but I know that, and I know that it's not just about repurposing, because we hear that and we're like, okay, cool, but how? I think the best way to do it is find a way to keep giving values while repeating yourself again and again and again. How do you do that? You create a system. I have a system. I have a Google Doc and a Google Sheet, and I have a system of repurposing content. This is also something I do with my one-on-one clients, because the system helps you to stay consistent when you really don't feel like it, when you are not creative, when you don't want to create content, and you get to use more of that creative fire and creative energy. This is what I told my friend recently. I was asking my friends what they are going through in their businesses at the moment so that I could create an embodiment practice specifically for this. And you know how in my work, I always associate a business move and a body-based practice. A business move and an embodiment practice. Always. So we have the masculine and the action and the real fucking business strategy. And we also have the feminine power going through the body and smashing those, blocks and limitation in a real tangible way, because it's through the body and through embodiment. But this one friend, I wanted to find her an embodiment practice. And I realized she didn't need an embodiment practice. What she needed was a system and a structure. So sometimes you cannot bypass the things that needs to be done in business. What she really needed is a solid structure. So I was having this conversation with her. She is an artist. She's so freaking creative. She's so good at what she does. She's a queen. She's a fucking queen. And when she creates a piece of content, usually it's so good, but it's like one. And then sometimes she disappears for days or weeks, or she just shows up in her story sharing her life, but it's a little bit random. There is nothing that she's offering. It doesn't feel like a business strategy, if you know what I mean. And so I was like, girl, you need to have a repurposing strategy so that you can show up and be consistent, and so that people can rely on you. The reason why we do that is not just to show up for the sake of consistency and to be proud of yourself for being consistent. Yes, feels good. It builds your self-esteem and your confidence because you know you can show up. But the reason why you do that is because you are a leader and people want and need to rely on you. So if you show up when you feel like it and you don't show up when you don't feel like it, you don't build that leadership. A leader shows up and people need to be able to count on you. And so if they see you every day, they can count on you. It's not to please the fucking algorithm. You need to get out of that. Like, who cares about the algorithm? Like, we do care. We want to understand it. There are so many perks at growing a large audience. We can also do that if that's what you want. But I'm pretty sure that what you want is serving your amazing client and making good money from it. So if the goal is to serve your clients and make good money from it and build this bougie lifestyle and build this empire, I'm telling you, we don't need to please the algorithm. So get out of this victim mindset of the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. Like, should never be the focus. The focus is always your clients. The focus is always serving the people that you're here to serve. And so if you do that, then you get out of this thing of like, oh, I need to be consistent because otherwise my views are going to get low and no one is going to like my stuff and no one's going to see my stuff. Yes, that's a repercussion, but that's not why you do it. And to me, that was really refreshing, to be honest, like, because I was forcing myself to be consistent and I was hating on the algorithm and I was feeling like a victim of Instagram, wherein we are never a fucking victim. We need to take the power in our own hands, create better content, create content that converts, and just be better and not care about the algorithm. But if we show up with consistency, is for our leadership. Self-leadership, to prove ourselves that we can do it, that we're consistent, that we follow through with our words, and the leadership for others. You are here to serve your clients, right? If a physical shop is open and then close and open and then close, and you never know the opening hours and you never know if you can go to the shop, you're going to get bored and you're not going to want to go to that store anymore. It's the same. You get to show up, even if it's more random, even if sometimes it's just to practice your consistency muscle, you just have to show up because you are a leader. People need to rely on you and to know like, oh, of course she's there. I can rely on her. She's not going to disappear and ghost for 8 months because she doesn't feel like it, right? Not to shame if you ghost and disappear. I've done it many times. I've seen people do it. And then they show up again when they have something to sell. You can tell that they need the money. I've done that too. There's no shame in that. We've been there, done that. But just, are we proud of ourselves? Are we building the kind of culture, movement, legacy that we say we want to build? I don't think so. So we move past that. So we tackled the consistency part of all of that. But you could be showing up consistently and still having this impression of screaming into the void. People are not engaging with you. They're not replying. They're not commenting again. They are not in your DMs. Like your inbox is so freaking empty. And that hurts because you're like, why nobody fucking cares about what I do? Sometimes it's just that we have a few tweaks to make to the content to have a strategy that, as I said, is both vulnerable and in a way relatable. But I want to circle back just a minute to what I said. You don't need to be relatable. You don't need to lead with your insecurities. This is actually something that I'm trying so hard not to do and to invite my clients not to do. You know how you said like, oh my God, I've also been through that because that, like, there is power when you say, I'm walking the walk. Like, this is my own experience. I'm not shaming you. I'm not saying that you're a bad person or a bad entrepreneur because you're making the mistakes that I've done. So there is power in telling your story, but there is also a way to frame it. If you're just like showing like, oh, you know, today, and you just want to be relatable, it gives your dream clients the ick. People need to be inspired, invited, and to see you as the solution. So talk about your story and your vulnerability in a way that is giving them some form of value. What did you gain from it? How can you help them because you know them? Use this as a way to be more empathic, to be more connected to your people, to be like, I feel you, I know you. Not as a way of like, I know so much better now. This is me. Like, I tend to be like that so much. I'm growing and learning so much in my life, and I'm learning so much through my mistakes. Apparently it's in my human design too. Like, I'm a 3/6, and apparently it's a double trial and error thing of like, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes and teach from them. And this is exactly what I'm doing. Loving it, especially the part of teaching, not so much the part of making the mistakes, because I had to eat a lot of shit for a very long time. But my point is, I love to share from my mistakes. But sometimes, because I'm growing and evolving so much, I look at the past version of me and I'm like, oh my God, shame, cringe. Like, I know so much better now. And I take this posture of like, let me tell you life. And I see how this type of content doesn't convert either. Like, I hear that a lot now with people that are showing up in their content like, so your environment is dictated by the 5 people you hang out around. Like, I don't know. They're just coming with an Instagram quote kind of thing, or teaching about their field, whether it's mindset or whatever, or you need to eat more carbs. If you're a fitness coach, I'm trying to find more examples so it's more tangible for you. But basically, I see them teaching lessons that they learned and that they embody. But I listen more and I pay more attention when they're saying, you know what? Like, a few years ago, I really thought that I needed to remove carbs, and it turns out it was bullshit. And I'm like, I'm paying attention because you're just talking about yourself. You're not trying to give me this lecture, right? So I feel that time of content, this is where I also shifted in 2025 when I dove so deep into messaging and marketing and, you know, even doing all the back end stuff for Business Activator for the launch and coming up with the content. It's been a pain in the ass because I sucked at it. Like, I look at my old content and I'm like, yeah, like, it's interesting what I said. Big theory. I'm not leading with my story. I'm not really connecting with my people. So I feel like I sold the most, and what really works is when like, I'm here and I'm backed up with all of me, all of my energy. You can feel me. Like, no one can fucking copy that or replicate that. This is me. This is Lika. You can fucking feel me. You can feel my power, my fire. You can feel my fire, my enthusiasm, my passion. You can feel my words. You can feel Lika. No, like I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm me in that moment. I'm a version of me. Sometimes I'm a lot more like soft and leading you through a deep meditation, or sometimes I'm a lot more flirtatious and sensual. But all of that is me. And I want you to feel me. I want you to feel me so much. Oh yeah. So I'm just losing track of this podcast. So what I'm here to say is that that's when I sold the most, is being the embodiment of my work, but especially like displaying as much as I could, my energy, me, my little quirks. Do you say quirks? I'm not sure you say that in English. My little like quirky thing about me, the little, my French coming through. Like, I don't know, like you can tell it's me. But when I tried to be so professional and strategic and talk to the camera and there were no me behind it, and I was almost like reading a script that I run through ChatGPT to make sure it was strategic enough, like you couldn't feel me anymore. And the other part is when I was not just giving lessons, but I was leading with my story more. Like, this is who I used to be. This is what I used to do, whether it was around sensuality, relationship, or business. This is what I do, right? I'm learning from my own experiences and of course my certification and my trainings, but I want to say this is almost irrelevant. What is really relevant and why people will buy from me is me, Lika. It's my experiences. Is what I've learned. So all of that to say, I went completely unscripted today. I just wanted to sit down and be with you and be real and talk about something I'm passionate. But sometimes I do have like a few bullet points so that I stay on track. Not today. Today you got the full rawness of me, but that's also how I prefer the podcast most of the time, for real. The episodes where I'm fully unfiltered and I'm getting lost in my thoughts a little bit because I'm circling through everything. And then it forces me to come back full circle. Feels like so on brand. All right. So just to circle back, just to give a little structure, because you're going to also love when it's neat, clear, and strategic. Okay. So if you're feeling that you're pouring so much energy into a void and nothing is working yet, first of all, know that consistency over time pays off, but usually it pays off way later than we expected. Those things takes a lot of time. I just joined a business mastermind and a lot of girls were saying, how did they join this mastermind? And the girls were saying, I've been listening to the podcast for years, or I've been wanting to join this program for years. And like, it takes years to build that trust for people to finally make it happen. So people are watching. And even if you have a small audience, trust that you showing up with consistency is going to build that trust because you're a part of their lives, of their routine. They see you on their social media. They see you showing up. They see you evolving and they get to know your journey and blah, blah, blah. The second tip that I would give you is to get out of the trying to be aspirational or entertaining. If you want people to buy from you, you don't want them to be entertained. I think that should still be a part of your content because you are creative and you want to use that and you want people to see that. It just cannot be the only type of content. And then I want to circle back to that story that I started to share about my friend who is an artist and who didn't had a strong repurposing strategy. So because the content that she creates when she creates one piece is so good, then it's into the void and she disappears. And so what I told her was you need a solid strategy and a structure that holds you so that you can lean back on it. So you see it as the frame of like when you have no motivation and no creative energy. I know you love to create when you're creative. I know you don't want to strategize your genius. And I know it's like a download. It's like an inspiration when you create that amazing piece of content. But then it stays as one piece of content. When this one piece of content and this burst of creative energy could turn into 10, 15, 20 pieces of content without ever boring your audience. You see, we are bombarded with so much noise. So except if you repost the exact same thing over and over again, people are going to start to notice, but it's going to take them a while to notice. And you can use it as a way to create more and more and more value from this so that in the moments where you don't have that fire creative energy, you still have this system that you can lean on so that you stay consistent, so that you show up, so that you stay in your leadership. And so you have best of both worlds. My friend is the kind of person who's never going to sit down every Friday to plan the content ahead. That will kill her soul. Like for real. It's going to dry her creativity because she's going to have to sit in front of a computer and be like, what kind of content should I do next week? Like it's not going to work for her. That's what I thought for myself too. Like I need to feel inspired. I need that. But having the structure, both the system of like, I'm showing up every Friday and I'm working through that. It sometimes ignites the creativity that wasn't there, first of all. And second, I know that I have a system so that the day I don't want to show up, life has been busy, Rosie has been fussy, I want to enjoy my partner more, or I'm just like not in the fucking mood, I still have tons of drafts in my Instagram account. Like literally I duplicate every single reel that I make so that I still keep them in my drafts, and then I change it and I turn it around with either a new perspective or I say the same thing in a different way. Maybe I said it as a face to camera reel. I'm going to say it as a carousel. I said it in a way that felt a little forced or a little formal, and I'm going to say it with my real voice. Or I shared a carousel and I can share the same thing with my face or with a B-roll. Get creative around that. And this way of repurposing also like gives water to your creativity. Like it fuels your creativity because you're gonna have to be creative to think about ways you can take one good piece of content and reuse it and reuse it in a way that still feels exciting to you. It's a little challenge. It's good. So that's it. I realized I didn't finish entirely this story, and I really wanted to tell you some of the processes that I do personally, that I've learned, and that I also invite my clients to do, especially for those who are in this position of feeling like, oh my God, it's sucking the life out of me. Like I'm creating so much. I feel like I'm screaming into the void. Nothing is working. I'm not signing my dream clients. I'm not making the money that I really want to make. And it just feels exhausting. And I'm blaming the algorithm because I don't want to blame me. And I think we just need to be humble and at the same time to give ourselves credit. We have to be humble because we are competing with creators that are so good. Like, let's be real. We're not the best. We're not the best at making content. I'm talking you and me, like it's not our full-time job. Our full-time job is something else. My full-time job is to give my best to my clients and to give all of my fire, all of my strategy in my coaching calls or in my programs, online programs. This is what I'm really good at. I'm not that bad at creating content. Sometimes I have a great podcast, for instance, wink, wink, but it's not where I'm the best. And I just have to be humble enough to know that it's no big deal. And to be realistic as well, that I'm competing with people that are so much better than me. It's their full-time job. Sometimes they even have a team or people that are behind them, helping them creating the content. And some people have been doing it for years. Some people, you don't know. You're competing with a lot. And then give yourself credit, because even though there is this competition and it's very humbling, you're showing up and you're doing it and you're doing your best and you're here to keep learning and growing and doing something that is better. And it makes you proud of yourself at the end of the day. For me, one of my real goals is to be obsessed with my page. Like I knew that I was killing it in business, and simultaneously it was the times that I was making the most money and connecting with the most clients and being invited everywhere. Like just the flow of business, like that was a good season of business, is when I was myself obsessed with my own content. I was like spending hours like on my own feed or rewatching my stories a billion times because I was like, they're so pretty, they look so good, they're so funny, I love this reel, I love this. When I felt a little bit out of this and I looked at my content, I was like, ugh, I wouldn't buy from me. It's the same with the podcast. Like, thanks God I hired a podcast strategist, because all of my titles and descriptions of the show, I wouldn't click on them. But I was convinced of what I'm doing in the podcast. Like, I love being here with you guys. I'm so fired up. I'm so excited. I have so much to share. But titles and description is just not my strong skill. And I wouldn't even click on them. And in order for you to know how good it is inside, you need to step through that door. And the door, the front store is the title, the description, like everything that makes you click on an episode. All of that to say, I think what you really want to create is something that you're so proud and so obsessed with. This is what I help my client do within Business Activator, is be obsessed with your brand. Your brand is so you, and you're so obsessed with you. And I'm going to say something that is so cliche and so annoying, but so fucking true. Self-love is the best marketing strategy. The more you love yourself, the more you're obsessed with yourself in a healthy, grounded, empowered way, the more people are going to be obsessed with you too. Because it's going to be so you. And we need more of that. And only you can be you. And you have this one precious life. Think about it. You have this one precious life. Why would you waste it trying to put yourself in a box, trying to copy the strategy of someone else, when you know in your heart what you need to do, when you know in your heart how to connect to your people, because no one else can do it for you. Even me, let's say we work together, you're my client. I cannot connect with your ideal client the way you can. Only you can do it. No one will do it for you. No business mentor, no strategy, only you. You know how to connect with your ideal client. Maybe you're not fully aware or confident in your ability to do so. Maybe you just can't see it how you are the best positioned person to connect to your ideal client. And you just forgot your power because you're bombarded with a billion different advice and a billion different strategies from everywhere online. People that are making a lot more money than you. People that are driving better cars, flying first class, eating in better restaurant, dressing with nicer clothes, whatever. And we see it as a symbol of success that we don't have, so they must have something that you don't. Guess what? You also have something that they don't. And you connecting with your ideal client and talking straight to her heart, straight to her or him or they, your superpower. This is the love of my life here. Cuckoo. So just to wrap up, because the love of my life with my daughter is here. If you want to dive deeper into that, the waitlist for Business Activator is open and you will get one of the best deals I've ever put for this offer. Already one spot is taken, which means we have a very limited amount of spots left. So let me tell you, you want to be one of the first one to get on that list. Business Activator is the place where you're going to really step into that badass CEO that can make the best decision for herself. Where you're going to learn how to really directly speak to your clients, but also build a brand that is so magnetic and so you. This is the place where you're going to finally be able to stop drinking advice from 100 different gurus and trust yourself and your own strategy. This is a place where you finally stop being exhausted from your business and you actually start thriving. There is so much more I want to share with you about Business Activator, but that will come in a few other episodes. If you want to get all the juicy details and all the secrets and all the things and you feel activated by it, make sure you jump on the waitlist so that you're one of the first one to know. And I talk to you next Friday.